All right, so today we're going to do a practice to prepare us for Passover, for Pesach. So Passover is also called Chag HaAviv, which is the holiday of spring. And spring is all about reawakening, coming back to life, this feeling of flushing out the old and kind of, like shaking off the cobwebs and, getting energized again. Spring cleaning is that urge, to be, all right, like I just need to clear things out and make space and, that feeling of just freshness. So we'll do a practice related to that. It's also called Zman Cherutenu, the time of our liberation. And the Passover story is honoring, remembering the exodus, the journey or transition from a place of feeling very constrained, limited, restricted, enslaved, to a place of openness and possibility, of new potential for our lives. So we'll play with all of those themes in the practice today. Okay, definitely do some twisting and wringing out to bring in fresh flow. And, maybe we'll play with some poses that make us feel really free and open, and poses that do the opposite, that feel like very constricted and bound. So we'll just play with that in the practice. Let's take a moment to get centered before we start moving. So just find yourself in your seat. Just give yourself the time and space to sit and settle. And I don't know if you could hear that outside my window, the birds are back. That's how I know it's spring. They're chirping away and it's beautiful. So just listen in your outer environment, wherever you are right now, and listen to whatever you're hearing. And take a look through your physical body. And just this morning, as you sit here, notice what in your body feels excuse me. What feels constricted or tight? Just notice where there's an imbalance or a pattern of holding or tension in the body. And then let's use the breath as a way of creating openness and possibility. So you can direct your breath to whatever place feels tight. So if my left shoulder is feeling tight, I can breathe spaciousness with my inhale into that shoulder. And on the exhale, I can try to surrender and let go of a little bit of that tension. So wherever in your body you noticed some tightness, let's just take a few minutes to breathe spaciousness into those areas. If it helps you to bring a hand or a finger to a certain spot to direct your mind and your breath there, you can do that as well. See how that feels. And take one or two more complete breath cycles through your full body. So feel the inhale inflate and make space throughout the whole body. And exhale, releasing any stale, stagnant energy that you no longer need. And going with this theme of new beginning, it's a new season, it's a renewal. Just look at your life in the moment and ask if there is something that you would like to bring fresh, new vision, energy, action to, a fresh new intention. And maybe set that intention for your practice today. And also noticing if there's anything old that needs to be cleared out to make space for that new intention. As you're ready, you can bring your hands over the heart space. Gently bow your chin, your head towards your hands in this gesture of honoring your heart today. All right. Let's start actually lying on your back, and let's do a little bit of reclining practice to start twisting and opening some things, and then I promise we will move. So come onto your back to start, and you can extend your left leg out in front of you and just draw your right knee into your chest. Yeah. So in the Sanskrit, this yoga pose is called Apanasana, and it's actually a pose of releasing wind, right? Because what it's doing is it's compressing the ascending colon, right? So it starts moving things through like that little, and you can even take, well, we'll do this when we twist, but so just feel this action here. If you hear some gurgles in your belly, that's okay. This is one of those poses that gets digestion activated. Good. Now just let's bring that leg up to the sky and just point and flex through the toes and the heel a few times. So this flushing out of stagnation in the joints. Yeah, now circle through the ankle in one direction and circle through in the other direction. Good. And then just climb your hands up the leg a little higher, higher, higher. Maybe you can reach towards your ankle and then maybe bend the elbow so you're drawing that leg in a little closer to your face. Good. You can feel that this is, again, compressing the right side of the abdomen. Good. All right, and then lower your shoulders and your head back down. You can bend this knee and take it all the way across to the left side of the body. We're going into a big twist here. Now, generally, especially if you're not very open yet, to bring the knee to the floor is going to lift your shoulder way up, right? So you're stretching across this diagonal, which is great, but you don't want to be leaving that shoulder hanging in space. That's a lot on the shoulder. So bring the shoulder back down onto the ground. Then the knee comes up off the ground. So you may want to use, if you have a block, you could bring a block there to create some border or boundary. Right? If you have a bolster, but you're twisting across this midline from the hip up to the shoulder. And again, you might bring your hand to your side waist and you can actually feel the twist. Like when you wring a towel and you see those like the spiraling happening, you could feel that in your side waist. And if you want, you could take your hand and give a little squeeze actually into that fleshy part beneath beneath the rib cage and above the hip, where those all the squishy organs in there. And again, when you do that, you might hear some gurgles. You might hear some gas moving through the digestive tract. That's good. That's good because that's about elimination. And when we do this bedikat chametz, the searching for chametz in the house, and we clean the house for Passover, we get rid of anything that is leavened, that is puffed up, that, right, we're going through doing this deep clean. It's about elimination. Of course, the rabbis have a spiritual interpretation about that's about humility, actually. That what we're really removing and getting rid of with the chametz is our own ego, our own arrogance, what makes us puffed up and think we're so great, we're so this. Not to say that we should think we're terrible, right? There's that great teaching by Reb Simcha Bunim, which he says, in one pocket you should have, I'm but dust and ashes. And for the other pocket, it's, but for me, the world was created. All right, so we're just moving things through. All right, come on back up to the center. Take some circles now just through this hip. Feels weird. You're in space. You might notice that, the other hip wants to come up, feel where you're tight, where this is about noticing where you have patterns of holding, of kind of like, I feel tight and gunked up in this hip. So I'm aware, now that I'm aware, I can work on removing it, releasing it. Yeah. Good. And we'll do one reclined figure 4 here. So take that right ankle, cross it over the left thigh. You can clasp your hands behind that left thigh and draw it closer in to your chest. You'll feel this as a big stretch in your glute. Also in that inner thigh on the right side. Yeah. And even here, you can just take some circles or some rocking motion. So notice what might feel tender around the sacral points, right? You might feel like, oh, let me just kind of hang out there and just give a little massage to that spot. I didn't know that felt so tender, right? So one of the gifts of the yoga practice is that you're just creating time for yourself to be present, right? This presence to our own body, our own physical experience. And then when we gather that information, we can do some healing and give ourselves what we need. All right, let's switch sides. Extend your right leg long out in front of you. You can hug the left knee into the chest. And the left side of the belly there is the descending colon. So now we're continuing our journey of elimination. Good. All right, and bring that leg up to the sky and go through your heel toe point flex. I don't know if you guys sometimes do this at the end of a long day where you've been standing a lot, sitting a lot. It's just so healthy to do this kind of inversion. Yeah, really, really good for the venous system, for the lymphatic system. Good. Circle your ankle one direction and the other if you haven't yet. And then you can walk yourself up. So there's definitely some core action going on here. The belly button is pulling in nice and strong towards the back of the spine. Keep that right extended leg strong. Flex through that heel. Good. Chin to chest. Good. Slowly walk yourself back down. You will now take the knee across to the right side and see where you are in space here, how far you are. Yeah, and then make a slight adjustment wherever you are to try to get that shoulder back down. Good. And you can take your hand to the left side waist now. Yeah. And this is, these practices are really good for just health-wise. If you're ever feeling a little slow and stagnant, in your bowels, right? This can help to help move things through. Again, it's just about bringing energy. Good. All right, come back through the center. Let's take the reclining figure 4 here. I hope that feels good for you. You know, there's certain poses when you do it, you're just like, oh, yes, that's just what my body wants and needs right now. And just appreciating those moments when you're in them. And again, feel free to take any movements that feel good for you in this pose. All right, and release the leg. You can hug both knees in now. And this may or may not be appropriate for everyone. I will offer it and see how you do. We're gonna just kind of gain momentum, kind of rocking up and back, right? So this is definitely involves some core. Yeah. If you can get to a place where you're balanced, you can hold that balance for a moment, right? This is core. So let's play with that. And you can rock back and come up and again, try to find your balance in that boat pose. Yeah, do that a few times. This is definitely about just getting strong in the belly, which again is also about elimination. In the yogic, we talk about Agni, which is digestive fire, which is at that belly. So the more we bring in some core work, we're heating ourselves up to burn off the chametz. And interestingly, that once we do this collection of chametz, what do we do with it? We burn it. We don't just throw it in the garbage. We don't drown it in water. We burn it. There's a fire element, which is spring, which is this season of the heating up. All right, hold your boat pose. Lift your chest. Pull your belly in. It's okay if this feels hard. Good. If you want to challenge yourself for a moment, you can extend. That's just making it harder. It's physics. Good. Reach it back up and bring the feet to the floor. Okay, let's fold over hands and knees and we'll make our way to our first down dog. So spread your fingers, get a nice clasp on the floor. You're going to tuck the toes under and lift the knees off the ground, hips up high, head hangs down. Good. Play through your down dog, how you need this morning in your body. And throughout the practice, you may want to come back to that, like kind of close your eyes and check in internally, noticing in your body, where do I feel free and open? Where do I feel spacious? And where do I still feel constrained and tight? And can I breathe, right? Using your breath as a tool. There's a wonderful, beautiful teaching from Thich Nhat Hanh, and he says, we can each be free in any moment. All we need to do is breathe. A single in-breath and a single out-breath can bring you back into a state of freedom. Freedom in your body, freedom in your mind, right? The breath itself clears us out. So just wherever you are, remembering to breathe. Okay, from your down dog, let's take your right foot all the way to the front of the mat. And you might need to help yourself do that. Stay nice and low. You can bring a block nearby if you need, but we're really in a low lunge here. Good. Okay, and you're going to keep your left arm on the mat under the shoulder or slightly wider than the shoulder, and just lift your right arm to the sky. So you're twisting over that right leg. Yeah. Try to keep the hips lunging forward. The left hip is trying to descend closer to the mat. The right knee is continuing to lunge forward even a little bit past the ankle. And then feel that twist. You can even bring your hand down to feel it. Bring your hand down for a minute underneath you to that left waist and feel the left waist wrapping around, like pull the waist around so that the left rib is trying to reach towards the inner right thigh. And then open the arm back up to the sky. Awesome. Good. Bring the hand down to the floor. Lower your back knee down to the ground, and you can untuck those toes. Okay? Good. From here, you might want both blocks nearby. This is just choices here. You can bring the blocks here, or you could bring your hands to your thigh, or whatever you need. We're just coming, this is a deep lunge. Really nice deep lunge. We're, again, flushing out all the gunk in the hips. Good. And then just kind of shimmy your hips side to side. See how that feels. Good. And then you're going to hinge your hips back. So you're going to straighten through that right leg. The foot comes up off the floor. The heel is there. You might want to reach the heel more forward, right? And get a nice anchor. The hips are up in space, leaning back behind you. Yeah. So like this. And you're going to fold yourself over that front leg. Yeah. Big hamstring stretch. Calf stretch. You might feel this into the low back. It might feel really nice, releasing some tension in the low back. And again, this feeling of like, I can just kind of wiggle my hips side to side here and feel, just to lubricate through the joints, right? Good. All right, from here, you're going to rebend that front knee, come back into the lunge. If you step the foot forward for that stretch, you might bring the foot back a little closer to you. Come back into the lunge. We're going to take a deeper twist here. You're going to take your left elbow across the right. There you go. Palm to palm. And now you're using the strength of your tricep to press into the thigh. The thigh is pressing out into the tricep. That connection is helping you to twist yourself around. So pull the belly in to the spine. And again, feeling that left rib cage is really ringing in towards the inner right thigh. The right rib cage is twisting back behind you up towards the ceiling. And you may gaze over your back upper elbow. So you're not going to get a big full in-breath, but you definitely can let go on the exhale. Really like pull the belly in even tighter on the exhale. And then fill as much as you can on the inhale. Yeah. All right. You're going to come back through the center, unwind. Let's take a deep lizard pose. You can't hate me for this because you did ask for this kind of deep practice around the twist. All right, lizard pose. Both forearms come either to blocks or to the floor underneath you. If that's too much, you can stay up on your hands. But what we're doing is we're really trying to come deep in here. Now, this front foot, just heel toe your front foot a little wider. So you're giving yourself even more space to open up that inner thigh. And, you judge where you want to come. Once you're down where you are, you can drop the chin to the chest. Stretch, relax the back of the neck. And just breathe. Good. You can also take your right hand to the inner right thigh, not on the knee. Don't push into the knee joint, but into the thigh. And you can come to the outer blade, the pinky side blade of the foot, and just take a little, press yourself away. Get length away from this inner thigh, leaning back. So you can really feel how that's kind of deep. If you use the palm of your hand and push down and away, you're really decompressing from that hip. Yeah, making space. That word Mitzrayim for Egypt, in the center of the word is sor or tsar, which is like hard, like our tsuris, our troubles. It's hard. It's a place of struggle. All right, from here, last option, totally your choice. You can, if it's available to you, how can I show you this? I'll turn this way to show you. So you're in your deep lunge, right? If it's available to you, bend your back knee. Mm-hmm. So you bend your back knee and you would reach around. So if the right, what are we on? Yeah, so your left knee would be bent. You reach around with the right hand for the left ankle or toes. Ah, this is definitely one of those twister poses. Like, wait, what? Yeah. But this is where, so you ultimately, it's obviously a big twist. We're also stretching the quads here. Yeah. And if you can't reach, maybe you can reach for your pants. Maybe you could find a clasp of the pants just so that you're like, pulling. Otherwise, if you had a strapper available, you could reach loop the strap around the foot and then use the strap to pull the foot closer to you. There you go. All right, release that out. Woo! Somehow make your way back to a downward facing dog. And again, just shake it all out. So we are definitely lopsided now. One side feels much different than the other. It's okay. We will do the other side next. Yeah. Nice. Really nice. Keep pushing down and forward with the hands so that you're reaching your hips and your tailbone up back behind you. No, the other way, Jill. Yeah, right. Like you're pushing the floor forward away from you so that it really pulls your thighs back, it pulls your hips up. Really nice. And then relax your head and then breathe. Breathe into the back of the lungs. Feel like your lungs expanding. Exhale. You can exhale out of your mouth if you want. It could even be audible, like ah. Maybe take a few of those breaths, like deep inhale and exhale. Ah. Great. All right, from here, you're going to look up between your hands and you're going to step your left foot forward now. Mm-hmm. If I forget anything on this side, please help me. You're going to stay low for I'm going to take a low twist. So the right arm is underneath the right shoulder or slightly wider, and you're taking the left arm up to the sky. So you're twisting towards that left knee. Mm-hmm. There you go. Good. And again, the tendency is that our hips are tight and we resist going too deep. So we pull back out of the lunge. But I'll encourage you to try to keep moving forward into the lunge with that knee and try to let that right hip drop towards the ground now. Good, good, good. And if you want, again, we did this on the other side where we sort of pulled our rib cage around so we could really feel the wringing out through the twist. Good. And then from here, we lower that back knee and just find the lunge here for a moment. You can untuck the back toes if that feels better for you. And you may notice at this side, something feels different than the other side. Like I immediately noticed like, oh, wow, yes, my outer hip on this side is really tight. It's giving me information. Okay, from here, shift the hips back, flex that front foot, and you're folding out over the extended left leg.
After that, we should do the arm, this one.
Oh, yeah, we will. After this one. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I wasn't sure to do it.
That's great. Thank you. I love reminders. Yep. Good. So breathe into the low back here, or breathe into the back of your hamstring here. Wherever you're feeling wanting more space, breathe that space with your breath. All right, from here, we're going to rebend into that front knee. And now we will come up and we'll do that twist. So I'm gonna grab a blanket to put under my back knee for that one. Right? You can also double up your mat. Good, so we come up here and we're gonna take that twist. Right elbow to the outer left thigh. Yeah, you can get those hands kind of pancake together. And that feeling of the belly is drawing in and the ribs are wrapping around. Like imagine that wringing out the towel through the ribs, squeezing out every last drop. Really using your exhale to purge. Belly pulls in even tighter on the exhale. Great. And unwind. From here, we'll go into the lizard pose. So again, you can heel toe that front foot off to the side a little bit more so you have more space. Yeah, you can bring the forearms down to the floor or to your block. If you want to roll to the pinky toe edge of the foot and just gently give a little press away in this thigh, just to decompress here in the outer hip. Good. And then we bend the back knee. I'll show you the variation with the strap this time. Sorry I didn't have that prepped for you on the other side. But I'll show you from this angle. So I'm trying to bend the back knee, right? And that in and of itself is enough of a stretch. If I stay in this lunge with my back knee bent, I'm gonna feel that big time into the front of that quad. But if I want to, and if I can't quite grab the ankle, I can use a strap to loop the foot, and then I can kind of create a hold here, right? So, and I don't know if that's helpful or not. I mean, it'll definitely deepen the stretch. Yeah. Which brings up an interesting point about being bound. That sometimes when we create a boundary, it actually helps us to expand, or it gives us the structure within which to expand. So the people were freed from being bound to Pharaoh and Pharaoh's rules and laws in Egypt, but immediately God gives Moses new laws to give the people to bind them to a covenant, to certain rules and limits, commandments, so that freedom isn't anarchy. Freedom isn't the ability to do anything, anytime, anywhere, to anybody without consequence, right? Freedom includes responsibility and having some boundaries and limitations. So even in a yoga pose, right, to be safe, boundaries, rules, structure creates a safe place in which to create openness. All right, let all that go. Oh, let's stand up. We haven't stood up once this whole practice. So let's do a little dancing warrior series, because I feel like that'll be a nice feeling of like freedom, flow, dancing. And we know that when after the escape from Egypt and the Sea of Reeds parted and they get to the other side, Miriam picks up her timbrels and dances. And Sam had requested a twist and shout dance. So going with the theme of twisting, we'll do some dancing warriors too, which are more lovely. But let's just start with a little bit of twisting, however you like to get your twist on. And twisting again, we're doing this feeling of like, right, you could twist this way if you want. This is a twist, that's great. But something about twisting the spine, it opens up the spinal columns differently. Oh my God, I love that. That's so cute. You could totally get your hips into the twist, shimmy up and down. If you do that, you are definitely going to work your glutes, work your quads. So a little bit of a squat going there. Yeah. Twist, twist, twist. Yeah. So you can do some hip rolls, right? We've been doing this work of opening up the hips, twisting. You might take some big hip circles here. Yeah. And the other way if you'd like. Yeah, let's do a little bit of balance while we're here. Let's do like a little one-legged. Whee! We sort of did this when we were lying on the ground. How does this feel different standing? Trying to open up the hip. Good. And then let's do the other side. Yeah. I love when you could do the same pose in different kind of angles and directions. Yeah. Good. All right, let's do a little bit of a dancing warrior just to get strong in the legs. So you can, from standing pose, let's just take the right leg back. Good. Bend the left knee. Let's start up in a warrior one pose. Strong, proud, confident, this energy of ha. Yeah, victory. And then you're gonna open your pose into a warrior two. So just kind of open that you're now facing this way. Good. And here's the dancing warrior. You're going to dance your arms back on an exhale. Maybe, I don't know. You could figure out the breath. You could do it like an inhale here, exhale through the center. I don't know, maybe that's more of an exhale. Whatever feels right for you. But you're just moving yourself from backward through center, through forward, and we're opening the side waist each side. So notice that one side opens, the other side constricts. That's okay. And then we come through center, and we're kind of neutral. Good. The next time you come forward, you can stay there either with the forearm to the thigh, or if you want to go deeper, you can bring the hand to a block to the back of that front foot. Good. And really deepen. Good. And then this arm could either extend long, or you can take a half bind or a full bind. So to do that, you would turn the palm behind you, bring the back of your hand to the back of your hip, right? Maybe your fingertips can actually reach around and find the inside of that thigh. That's a really nice half bind if you can do that, right? But you could just keep the hand behind. If you'd like, you can also full bind. You reach this hand underneath and you clasp your hands behind your back. So the hands are clasped behind that thigh behind you, but you don't want to do that in a way that it collapses your chest and everything contracts. You only want to do that bind if you could still lean back. So you're still opening this hip, opening the sideways. And what you'll find here is a very deep twist in the belly. Yeah. Keep the strength in the back foot. Keep the strength in the front foot and that front knee. Yeah, this is deep to do a bound side angle pose. Good, release the hands wherever they are. Straighten through the front leg. Let's do a half moon just for the fun of it. Do you have a question? Oh, okay.
Just got
Straighten the front
around,
leg.
sorry.
What? Okay.
Thank you.
So welcome, bye. You're in your triangle pose. Let's go into a half moon. So bend your front knee. Bring your back foot in a little closer. Bring the front arm forward. And you're going to step all your weight into the front foot and find your balance as best you can. And to me, this is one of the poses in yoga that I do this pose on the beach. This is my go-to when I'm outdoors on the beach by the ocean. I'm like, I have to do a half moon. Because to me, that really embodies this feeling of freedom, of like total freedom, liberation. You know, I hear the waves rolling in and out. I'm looking up at the sky and the sand, and you just feel like a bird. You feel like you're free, you're floating. Good. All right, and bring it back down and come up. And let's shake it and twist it out again. before we do the other side. Take it and twist it. Whee! Maybe some of those squats again. What were you doing? Oh, you were doing like the shimmy down with the squat, which I love. Fun. All right. Whew, I'm actually gonna do a little jumping, twisting action here. Yeah, it feels good. Okay, I'm not gonna sing for you though. Sorry, Sam. All right, let's do the other side with the warrior. So take your left leg back behind you, right knee bends. Let's start with a warrior one. Good. From our warrior one, you'll open it to your warrior two stance. So watch that front knee. Make sure you have enough space between your feet that you can really open up the inner thighs without getting this knee beyond the ankle. Good. And then from here, let's just dance. Good. Feeling the contraction of the side waist. When you do that, each side back and forth. And the next time you come to the side angle, you can stay in that side angle. You can take the block, hands to the block variation, or you can take some version of the bind. I like to kind of start with that half bind first, just to open up the chest, the shoulder, and make sure your back foot is really grounded. It's your anchor. And then if you want to go for the full bind, that front arm can reach underneath, find the fingertips of the other hand, maybe. And once you get in there, you want to reopen the pose and lean back. Big twist. Belly is drawing in and up. If your heart rate is elevated here, that's okay. Right? This is a lot of work. Good. And then release the bind. From here, we moved into our, did we take a triangle first before our half moon? I don't remember if we did or not, but you can take a quick triangle here. And then we're going to move into our half moon. So for the half moon, you could start with your hands to the waist if you'd like. You're going to bend that front knee. You could step your back foot in a little bit. I like to use the block for myself to bring the floor up. Obviously, when I'm doing this pose on a beach, I don't have that. But yeah. And do your best to find your balance. So drawing the belly in towards the back of the spine always helps with the balance. Making sure your inner thigh is drawing energy up from the ground. Ooh, my balance is hard on that side today. All right. Wow, beautiful. Oh, that's a photo op for the two of you. All right. Come on up. Maybe let's just do one more standing. Yeah, you can do whatever kind of twist you like. I'm gonna just play with like the twist we did earlier, but like a little bit of a standing twist here. Like what would it feel like to hook your knee and just kind of twist out? I don't know, I'm just playing. But do any kind of last pose you want that involves some kind of twist, maybe a balance. Right, if you're doing a twist, maybe make sure you do the other side so that you feel even. Ooh, interesting. All right. Let's come back onto the ground. Oh, We didn't do any of my traditional Passover type poses. Like Dandasana staff pose, Moses and a staff, and the Sphinx pose. I don't know. Do you feel a very strong urge and need to do any Passover kitschy poses? We're all right. We're all right. All right, let's come into a rolling bridge then. Um, so you'll start on your back with your feet in front of your hips. Your knees are up. And you're just going to inhale, lifting the hips, lifting all the way up. Arms reach overhead. As you exhale, you're slowly lowering back down, vertebra by vertebra by vertebra. The tailbone lifts and is the last thing to touch down. Good. Inhale, so nice and slow and controlled. You're really, again, massaging through the back. We're getting that opening in the front of the thighs, the inversion. And slowly lowering. Do as many of these as you'd like. And when you are feeling done with that, if you have your block nearby, I would invite you on one last lifting up of the hips. Maybe bring that block underneath you on the lowest level or on the middle level. If you really have access to it, depending on how tall you are, I have to get up on my tiptoes to do it. You could bring the block up onto the highest level. That's a really big opener in those hips and belly. If you have any low back achiness, that might be a little too much for you. But just some inversion and reversal flow of energy through the groin area. And if you want to take one leg up at a time here, or even both legs up, you can do that. So it's like a variation of a supported shoulder stand. If you want to play with taking splits here, you can extend one leg long and one leg up, which is kind of like where we started, but now with the elevation of the hip, it feels a little bit more like a split, a little different. Yeah, you could bring this leg in towards you. Remember to breathe fully in and fully out. And if you're in a split, you'll want to change legs and make sure you do the other side. And then anything else you need for your practice, feel free to take that now and then make your way into Shavasana for the last few moments. Taking a moment to offer blessing for yourself, blessing for your loved ones. A really nice offering, part of the Passover is that we make an offering. Maybe offering a blessing for all beings everywhere to be free. May all beings everywhere be free. May all beings everywhere have peace and health and possibility. As you're ready, you can make your way back to sit, however you please. And feel free to take as much time as you want and rest. Oseh shalom b'manav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel imru. Amen. May the bestower of peace bestow peace upon us, upon all of Israel, and upon all beings everywhere in the world.
Thank you.
You're welcome.